Hey, how you guys doing? Good evening, everybody. It's 7 p.m. I'm chiming in. What's today? Tuesday the 7th, double sevens. And I am just logging in, just having a little conversation today. Been quiet lately, had a lot on my mind, had a lot going on. So I wanted to just basically do some checking in and discuss a few things that's going on today. So for those of all who don't know, my name is Andre Russell. I am the CEO and founder of Smith Center for Community Advancement, a, a virtual community center that I'm in a process of rebranding and building. What that means is I am in the business of sharing, distributing, and supporting organizations and individuals that need to be supported. There's a lot going on in the city. There's a lot going on in the city that needs to be shared. Everybody doesn't know everything. Everybody doesn't have all the connects. So I see my place in this world basically being a connector and an assistant to the connector. So I decided to rebrand my organization to kind of facilitate and help do that process. So hello to everybody checking in right now. Um, so doing this, I created a few different formats to use my platform to share information, have conversations. Hey Tony, um, one of those things I've been doing is the Smith's Spotlight, Smith Center Spotlight, and basically what that is a. I know a lot of people. I've been blessed to know a lot of people, and a lot of fascinating people, a lot of positive people, a lot of driven people, successful people, dreamers, goal getters, everything. And I would like to share their story. I think that our excellence is only supported by those who know us and to get to know us. So I know so many people that just deserve the spotlight. They don't go out and look for their own shine. So I feel that it's my place to kind of help, share that spotlight and share that shine. So from time to time, I will be doing Smith Center spotlights on people that I have met, I have worked with, or just observed, and want to just share their story. I think people need to share their story more often so we can get to know each other better and support each other better. So that's my routine. That's what I want to do. And I'm good at that. So that's the Smith Center Spotlight. The second thing that I wanted to do was have more conversations and open the floor to different people to have these conversations. A lot of times, we do a lot of, you know, this. We do a lot of this. We do a lot of typing, a lot of writing, a lot of blogging, a lot of typing, but seldom do we do a lot of talking. And when we do have these conversations, we're usually in our own circles having these conversations and, you know, talking to each other about problems that we already know about. But we don't open it up enough to other people to have these conversations, to share these thoughts, to get more insight, and just to spread the word. You know, if I'm mad about something, or have feelings about something, or have thoughts about something, if I keep talking to the same people over and over again, I don't think anything will get done. But if you share your thoughts and share your feelings and share your concerns, you don't know who you might, run into that feels the exact same way you do, or maybe they don't feel the same way you do, and they have a different opinion, and you have to learn about their opinions. Um, One thing I've learned about these conversations and these journeys is you're not always right. And it's okay to have a different opinion as long as it's respectful enough. Because I've seen some doozies, I've experienced some doozies, but I try to provide a platform of respect in that process. So, absolutely. Tony said, if you want different results, you must do things differently. Yep, absolutely. So I agree with that. So with that, that's why I'm doing this. So with the concept of changing the narrative, that's my hashtag. Not my hashtag. I don't own hashtags, but that's the hashtag that I'm using in regards to these conversations and these things that's going on. We're changing the narrative so that people know what's going on. Uh, One of the main arguments that we've had recently, especially when it comes to conversations with Black Lives Matter and everything like that, is, well, why are you mad about when police, let me phrase this right. Why are you upset about police brutality, but you're not upset about a baby getting killed in the street, or, insert whatever gets getting killed, in the street? And quite frankly, and this is just me, I think that argument is absurd, because I think everybody should be upset with a loss of life. There is no one over the other. There is no tragedy more tragic than the other. Tragedy is tragedy. Death is death. Crime is crime. That's how it works. I myself used to ride under the banner of black on black crime. I'm not afraid to admit that. In full transparency, up to a few years ago, actually. That was my mentality. Black on black crime. What about black on black crime? That was me in that argument. Until someone actually showed me, very academically, that concept is a distraction and a not true. Well, not to say not true. It's a distraction and a buzz term that's not exactly accurate to the conversation. Of course, when a black person kills a black person, that's technically black on black crime, but it's still crime by definition. There is no such, that if we go into the compartmentalization of what it is, then you take away the strength of the argument. In our community, any kind of crime is wrong, is tragic. But when you say, but what about black on black crime? Crime is what we see every day, is what we experience. It is what we see. So there is no what about. It's the same. It's tragic. All of this is tragic. All of this is messed up. All of this needs to be addressed. But you can't compartmentalize and say black on black crime when there's so much other different aspects to that. Be specific. Be specific. There are so many different levels. When you say crime, it's a whole umbrella full of different things that fall in those categories. And you can't say, no one is doing anything about it. Well, I don't see people being outraged. Outrage is an emotion. Outrage is not action. Okay. The stuff you see after outrage is the action, but the feeling and emotion is there. Yes, people are outraged. Yes, people are tired. Yes, people are frustrated. Yes, people are all of the above when it comes to what's going on out here. But to sit there and say, what about, where's the outrage? Then you're not looking into yourself, and you're not looking into what's going on next to you, because your partner, your brother, your sister, they're outraged. But if we were to step out and march or do whatever every time something happens, then nothing will ever get done, because we're going to be too busy marching. We need action. We need solutions. We need to have things put in place to address the causality of what's going on out here. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. That's what we have to do. So we can't sit here and talk about, well, I don't see this, I don't see that. Well, everything doesn't happen under your radar. Everything doesn't happen when you want it to happen. You have to open your eyes. You have to be out here. You have to communicate with other people, which is why I want to make these connections. Because when I hear somebody say, well, I don't know what's going on, or not say I don't know what's going on, they don't see what's going on. That means that you're just not looking in the right direction. Okay? You have your front view, you have your peripherals, and you have behind you. Okay? Last time I checked, there are not a lot of people with actual eyes in the back of their head. Last time I checked, your peripheral only comes into play, at a certain point. And some visions are better than others. Some people have that good peripheral vision where they can kind of like not look straight, they can look straight, but still kind of see on the side. Okay. And you see what's in front of you. And even when you see some things in front of you, might not always be clear. The peripheral is damn near not always clear. And you definitely don't know what's going on behind you unless you have spider sense. So to say what you don't see, I think is a misclaimer, I believe, because it doesn't really, hold true. Just because you don't know about it doesn't mean it's not happening. Let's just get that straight right now. Just because you see it not happening doesn't mean it's not going on. Hey, Stacy. How you doing, Stacy? Uh, Tonio said, or they are not active or trying to be engaged. There you go. There you go. I like that comment actually, Tony. I'm gonna go ahead and highlight that. Or they are not active or trying to be engaged. That's something that we can't. I can't say you're not engaged. I don't know what you do. It's your day to day. You know, just because you're not marching with me doesn't mean you don't have your own orders to do whatever. Everybody's not doing everything. If everybody was doing the same thing, we still won't have progress done because everybody's doing the same thing. We need diversity. We need to expand our reach and our branches and our skill set. So that's a good point you raised, Tonio, when you talk about people are not acting or not engaged. They may not be active where you're at. They might be active on their set, on their block, in their circle. Their circle might be wide, their circle might be small, their circle might be limited, but they might be doing something, but they just don't see it. And once again, I'm using myself as an example. I fell into that trap of trying to call out people who I didn't see doing things that I didn't see. But my vision was limited as well. My vision only goes so far. So because I don't see it, I can't put you out there and say, well, I don't see you doing anything. So you're not a part of the problem. I mean, you're not part of this problem. Like you're, part of the solution. You're part of the problem. And I could not have been more farther from the truth. I realize that a lot of people do their own different things and don't look for the spotlight, don't look for the shine, don't look for attention. They just do what they do. And I've been doing that lately. I've learned from them. I learned to, I don't have to broadcast everything I've done. Today, for instance, let's talk about it. Today was Blackout Tuesday. And even though I just found out about it like what? Sunday, Monday, I think. But the concept is always good. Support Black. A lot of people do this every day. This is not new. Nothing about this is new. If you support Black business, if you support anything regarding Black economics and what it means to put dollars into our community, none of this is new. None of this is new. None of this stuff, and somebody had posted today, and I want to highlight that, is don't just do this on Juneteenth, Black History Month, Kwanzaa, or today, or select days. This should be a mental, that should be every day. One thing that I will give 100% credit for is my friend Akila, Tequila, and Biba and the Bridge Network. When I first got into the whole concept of what it means to buy Black, it was those two individuals, number one, that gave me full, eyes wide open view about how our Black dollars work and where it needs to go. But the organization and what they did and what we did was phenomenal. And to see other people doing it now, or getting on the bandwagon and being supportive and everything like that, I'm not going to trip. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great concept, but this doesn't end today. It should be Blackout every day. Think about it. To the best of your ability. Of course, we have to go to certain grocery stores and certain things because that's in our community or that's where we got to go for what we can. But make it a conscious effort. This is a conscious effort to support our own and not blindly. Because once again, I had this conversation last week actually about Black businesses. No way am I condoning or supporting a Black business that doesn't, do their job, their fair share, customer service, product, whatever the case may be. I don't believe in that. But what I do believe in is supporting people who are trying, supporting people who are delivering, supporting people who are supporting you, supporting people who are supporting others. Every bit counts. Every bit counts. So today was a very conscious day to spend dollars in the Black community. The day was a very conscious day to support people in the Black community, which I've done all day today. all day today. If I can't do it physically, I'll do it financially. If I can do it financially, I'll do it by the click of a button and sharing the information or supporting someone else. I had a great conversation with a young brother who I've seen and worked with, briefly every now and again, or just seen. And he has so much energy, and we'll be doing Smith Center Spotlight on him soon. I'm not gonna say his name now, but he was a good brother, and his energy was so positive that he made me feel good just even reaching out to him and having a conversation briefly. That's what we need. And then I sent him a link to one of my Smith Center spotlights, and he automatically asked, "Hey, can I share this?" Sure. I didn't tell him, "Hey, share this." I didn't give him directives. I just showed him. I said, "Hey, this is what we're doing. I want to do this with you. Are you in?" He said, "Yeah, I'm in, and I want to share it too." So he shared it on his network. So there's a bunch of people who didn't see it yesterday is going to see it today and tomorrow and beyond. That's support. A little click of a button goes a long way. And that's my example of what I mean by that. Stacy said, people generally pay attention to things that impact them. People have to put forth a concentrated effort to pay attention to things. Yeah, absolutely. So, with that being said, let's talk about that today. How many people today have been conscious in their spending today? How many people today? And not trying to be a disclaimer, but if you do this every day, good. This does not concern you. You do this every day. This is part of your lifestyle. This is great. I want you to keep doing this. Keep up the good work. You know, but I'm talking to people who actually saw the movement, saw the challenge, saw the opportunity, and actually went for it and did it. And how did it feel? How did it work? Do you have a good experience? Have a bad experience? Do you have an indifferent experience? These are things that we have to talk about because we have to get better. In order to get better, we have to challenge each other on what's going on out here. You can't just, say, I'm supporting Black, but then the service is shitty, you know, or the food wasn't good or whatever, I mean, you have to, acknowledge it and take notes of it and decide whether or not I'm gonna give another chance, whether or not I feel like I need to talk to somebody about this. Maybe they had a bad day, maybe because it's hot, whatever. It's a lot of things going on. And we deserve to be having, stellar service. We deserve to have good product. We deserve to have good food. We don't deserve to be treated crappy in any way whatsoever. But I think when it comes to our own, we are really heavily scrutinized ourselves and we're quick to cancel. And I'm gonna get to cancel culture maybe later on in the conversation if somebody brings it up and reminds me. But I wanted to just talk about how we as a when it comes to supporting Black, and buying Black, how conscious we are about that. We have to be conscious because this is not just a once a once a month type thing. This should be daily or weekly thing. Some people are doing it daily, and including myself on some level. You know, we need to get to that because we need to control our dollars. We need to control our finances. We need to control where it flows. I've learned this from the best. So is I have to share what I've learned to the best of my ability and hopefully, inspire someone else to do the same because that's how this works. That's how this goes. If you don't do this, then none of this that we're doing is, worth it. We're just wasting our time. And that's the thing that I want people to understand that we have to get into the motion of being more supportive in the slightest way, even in doing this, sharing this information, sharing this post, getting on the post, having this conversation. Before I went on here, I said, hey, I'm going live to talk about a few things. I would love some company. If you want to get on the inbox, I could bring you on. We can have a conversation. I could bring you on. And as you can see, I'm by myself. Now, there's no shade or slight to anybody because people got things to do. People got things going on. I can't be everywhere either. But it's very telling when people have a lot to say to type But then when you give people the platform and the floor to say, hey, I want you to sign off about this. I want to hear your voice about this. I want you to say what's going on so other people can know what's going on. And it's crickets. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's crickets. We are so used to complaining. We are so used to calling out what's going on. But when people are given opportunity to talk, and people are given opportunity to step up, not everybody rises to the occasion. Not everybody answers the call. They wait and see. That's what we do. We wait and see what's going on. Let's see who steps out first. Let's see what they're about to do. And part of that is self-protection, self-preservation. And I get it. You know, you want to see what's going on first. You want to see, what they're going to do, so what they're going to say. But then, does that mean that you miss your shot, your opportunity to speak up, to say something, to be a part of the conversation? There's a lot of ways to be part of the conversation. And sometimes just doing this, that's not enough. You have to go out there. You have to go out there and inspire others, to motivate others. They have to see you sometimes. If they just see me, they're used to me. But if they see you and me, that makes a difference. And I'm not just saying that. I'm actually talking from experience. From experience. And that's just my general thought about that. And that's why I'm pushing changing the narrative, so we can change that conversation of we talk, but we don't do. We talk, but we don't do. And we seldom listen. Or we listen and then don't do. We need more talking. We need more action. Words into action. That's another concept that I have created through the Smith Center as well. Words into action of doing what we're saying and backing it up and doing the best. Can I do more on my end? Absolutely, I can do more. I can try to do more. And I will try to do more. But at least I'm out here doing. When I present the opportunity to somebody else to say, hey, come do this with me, you get the, yeah, sure, rah, I'm with you. And then you turn around and it's just you. Or it's crickets. Or they watch from a distance to see what's going to happen to you. True story. College. Long time ago. Chicago State. I was part of the Black Student Union. And there was a situation where we were doing a student activist thing. And we were protesting something. I can't remember what it was right now. But we were doing active protests. And we had a chance to talk and meet with the president of the school. And I remember, because I was in that room, and we went to go talk to the president. It was all of us in there. We was in there. We had everybody. People had their African garb on, their militant garb. They were black. They was black. It was black. It was dope. Dope experience. I wasn't a spokesperson. I wasn't at a spokesperson level at that time. I was kind of like, just happy to be in the room, but I was in the room and I was there. And people talking and everything like that. And so we got out there, and long story short, the conversation went flat. Went back outside the protest. Went outside, blah, blah, blah. So we was out there. And I never forget, it was this one brother who's always been there, and he's a talker and everything. Senior. He's a senior. He's an ancestor now. Rest in peace. And he was on the hill watching us from a distance. And so we was doing our thing, blah, blah, blah. We saw him. We did our thing, whatever. When it's all said and done, we went to go regroup to the office. And someone said, hey, we saw you, but why weren't you down there with us? He was like, hey, I want it to be at a distance, so if something happens, I go let the police. I go let somebody know y'all got locked up. I was like, that is so hilarious. But then I don't think I got it as much as I get it now. There's people who do that, who watch from a distance. They got your back. They got your back, and they sit there, and they're like, okay, all right, they're good, and then they come regroup with you, after the fact, you know. Um, so that's that piece on Black. So I hope that everyone did their due diligence today with that conversation. But one of the main reasons why I want to have this conversation and why I wanted more people to chime in on is in regards to the news about going, which people talked about already, but kind of wanted to get into about going back to school. So it's official that school will be starting inside the building. Of course, there will be some probably remote options and everything, but for the most part, school is definitely starting in the building. And there are a lot of mixed reviews about that, and concerns. And I totally understand every last one of them. And I'm not complaining about them at all because they're very valid. I think they're very valid. I think that, and it's funny because we have such a proven distrust and disdain of our president that none of this is making it easy. But when he talks about it, it makes it seem like it's uglier than what it is. Like, oh my God, this dude is so disconnected and everything about why it's an issue. But it's a huge issue. It's a huge issue for some people, for a lot of people, about going back to school during this crisis or going back into a building to educate, to send your child there, and from my perspective, some school or some networks are handling it better than others. And I'm not going to get into the details about that, but I will say that, I can speak on my job is doing a concentrated effort to try to present the best options possible for the families. Staff, they still on the drawing board about that. At least from my perspective, I don't know much about what the staff's going to do. But someone asked a good question: is the testing process? Will we get tested more? Which we should. I think we should get tested every 2 weeks if possible. Once we go back into that building, because ain't no telling when we're gonna catch it. And so as soon as we know, we got to quarantine ourselves and move forward with that. Because it's very serious as staff. Um, the children, the children, um, the children. We already know that these kids do not practice cleaning, hygiene in a way that that will be ideal. Not all of them. You know. Um, so when people talk about going back to school, there's a lot of concerns about health and safety that is still on the table since March. People have been thinking about this since March, and here it is going on July, and we're going back in August, and there's still questions, there's still concerns, and I don't think that we are going to have a stable school year. My concern is stability. I'm a Libra. I like balance. My concern is we do not have the right balance to start back the way we are starting back. It should be a phase-in process as opposed to automatic. And I get it. They want to show structure. They want to show, and trust me, I miss the I miss being in school. I miss the action. I miss everything about it. I miss the interaction. I miss everything about it. But we have to do this smart. We have to do this safe for ourselves and for so many others. And from what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing so far, it's a good effort. I feel more confident now than I did then about going back. But the X factors with the kids and the families are the ones that we can't control. Those are the intangibles right there. Those are the ones that we can't control, and those are the concerns that's out there. Um, I can do my best to keep my distance. You know, I can do best to keep my hands off my face. I can do a lot of that. I can do a lot of that stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, some people try their best and still catch it. You know, how to effectively handle it when you get home is one thing, but then you got to make sure that everybody who you are in contact with is also not affected. And it doesn't stop at the school. Just because you're back at school, does that mean you get to go outside and kick it? Does it mean that you get to go outside and have dinner at restaurants and do all the stuff that everybody else is doing because you want to live normal? Quote, you know? Um, it's a valid concern. It's a very valid concern. I was invited out to go out and, you know, to eat. And I was like, yeah, it's not a good idea. This is roughly when restaurants open back up, you know. And so they're not on this broadcast, so I'm being full transparent. They will never see this broadcast. So they asked me out. They said, hey, I'm taking you out to eat. I said, all right, cool. They started naming things they wanted to do and where they wanted to go. Even though they were outside or whatever and, you know, different things, I still had anxiety about being in that environment because I see them kicking it with other people and taking these pictures and everything, and I'm there in places surrounded by other people and they're not social distancing and all this other stuff. And I get nervous. I get nervous because of who you hang around. I know who I hang around. I know who I see. On my hand, I can tell you who I see within a week or who I interact with within a week. Within a week, I know who I'm around. Not a lot of people, you know. So that's going to change going back to work, going back to the school is going to change. So I have to be mindful about not only who I talk to and socialize with at the building, but when I go out of the building. I'm still, as bad as I want to go to a restaurant, as bad as I want to be a part of that life and sit down and eat and drink and do stuff, I don't feel comfortable because there's the numbers going. There's still people getting sick, some people dying, and I am an at-risk person dealing with an at-risk relative. So I cannot subject myself to that life as bad as I want to. And that's the mental I have to prepare myself for. So imagine what other people are thinking about. Parents are thinking about just sending their kids to school, you know, and out of their house after spending most of their time in the house for the last 3 months, to go back and put them back into a building where they have no control over what's going on with their kids. And the anxiety is going to come out of that. That's a real concern. That's a real concern that we have to be mindful of and acknowledge. We have to. And we have to be able to answer those questions. So I'm thinking to myself now, I'm projecting, you know, what if scenarios and how to handle those and how to handle those what if scenarios. I have a lot to worry about and think about going forward with how I'm doing my job going forward. You know, so this stuff is out, and I'm not even a teacher. Imagine what the teachers are going through, which is why I wanted them to, you know, chime in and say something because I really wanted to get their perspective about what's going on. Um, in a teacher capacity, I wanted somebody to, you know, just to say their concerns about it and talk about it out loud because once again, if we're doing all of this typing and we're doing not a lot of talking, not a lot of sharing, not a lot of brainstorming, not a lot of solution building, we are in the same place that we were in March. We're not making any progress. We're not making any progress, and we are not moving forward with anything. And that's my concern, that we get stuck waiting to see. We in that wait and see mode. And we start in August. So we're so late, like mid-August. So there's going to be a lot of people that are looking at us like wait and see. Let's see what they're going to do. What's going to happen with those numbers? So yeah, it's a very interesting thought, a very interesting conversation, and one must look and see, how we're going to handle this moving forward. But the truth of the matter is we have to move forward. We have to move forward because we have to show that we're going to get past this and evolve and adapt. How that looks, it's not my call. But I do want to see structure. I do want to see stability. And I want to see a plan. If I can get comfortable with that and the process that it took to make that, then that's a good start. That's a great start, actually. Just thinking about how it's going to go with the parents and everything like that. I really wish I had some teachers on here to chime in about this conversation. Maybe they'll check in later and they post, and I got to read their comments later because that's what they're going to do. They feel comfortable typing rather than talking. But we're going to see. We're going to see. We're going to eliminate these excuses, or we're going to try to eliminate these excuses and try to come up with some solutions. Point blank. We got to. It's imperative. Do you want to go? Do you want to chime in? Okay, I see you. I see you, Jay. Do you want to come in and chime in on this conversation, or do you want me to tag you in? I can send you. I can send you an invite if you want. I need to hear from you right quick and get your thoughts and concerns. Do you want that? I can send it to your inbox. Let me know. Type yes or no. Since you can hear me. Type yes or no. I can shoot your inbox right now, and I can time you in, and we can go from there. Cause I really want to talk about this. Oh my God. He said I'll type it. Okay, fine. Type your concerns then. Type out your concerns and we'll post it and we'll leave it at that. How about that? Since you said that's what I'm talking about. Okay, cool. Type it out and then we'll go from there. That's fair. We got to get out of this. We got to get out of this. I understand because you work. I know where you work. So it's okay. That's why, what I want to do? I would love, no, for real, talk about your concerns, please. I can read them off. But what I want to do is have a conversation with police officers. I feel that there's a lot to be said or to be asked of them. And in this society, everything is so polarized about them right now. And I would love to talk to police or a police officer or somebody who works, in close connection with them and the process and the system to give us some insight. Because that's what we're needing. I need to hear from them. We're hearing from the media more than we hear from them. I don't trust the spokespeople. I really don't. I want to hear from an officer about their views, about their thoughts. I want to hear from them. I feel that made me feel more comfortable. Jay says, I don't think the schools are prepared to provide a safe environment for the start of the school. That is the consensus. And part of it is which of the capacity of the school. The schools are not built to separate these many kids safely. They're not with the class size structure in place. If I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, let me know. But when I think about an average size classroom that has over 15, 20 kids, and depending on your school and the grades and everything like that, in the space that you have, you might not be able to separate them in a safe distance capacity. Let alone being able to monitor their activities to decrease likeliness of infection. That's the best way I could put it. Exposure. That's reality check. I'm looking at it in my head of a classroom and how it's designed and what we do on a daily basis and how they're supposed to operate and act. Let alone wear masks all day. These kids have not been wearing masks in the house. They haven't. And we expect them to, put masks on in the building and keep it on 8 hours, or whatever, that is going to be a further traumatic episode that a lot of them won't be, what's the word I want to say? From my perspective, that just won't be acknowledged or supported. Hey, Jen. Tonio says I can speak from a community perspective on what was said at town halls with the police. Jay says, I like this concept. They are better off staying consistent with the remote learning. Those masks are going to be on the top of their heads or on their eyes like Batman. It's unrealistic. We don't have the funding to keep up on the cleanliness of the building to stop the spread. There you go. There you go. That's number one. That's the number one answer. That's the number one concern is you can't control these kids in the building when it comes to this conversation. You just can't. It's so hard. It's so hard. And to me, that's a concern that I have in my role. Like, am I going to get called to the office? I mean, to the classroom because, Tay Tay, don't want to wear his mask. And I got to sit there and tell Tay Tay to wear his mask. And how am I going to penalize him for not wearing his mask? That's a conversation that's definitely a good thought because I didn't even think about that. Like I don't think I can handle that. To have that conversation, like seriously, like or get a conversation, which is the conversation you're gonna get with kids in general. He was touching me. He gave me COVID. Oh my God. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. That's gonna happen. We're gonna get a lot of those. He's touching me. He gave me COVID. I'm going to my mama. Tell them that so and so gave me COVID. That is going to be. I need to write that down. I got to be prepared for that conversation and have that answer in place because you can't. That's going to be a conversation that. Oh my goodness. Oh. I just thought about that. Just screwed ourselves. That's going to be it. That's going to be it. Jen says, my son be participating in remote learning. He says he's scared to return because people aren't being sensible. Yeah, that's real. These are active concerns from the children. Children with anxiety do not perform well in school. So their grades will be affected. Their behavior is going to be affected. It's a downward spiral that's potentially going to have lasting ramifications. If they're not comfortable in school, they're not going to perform. They're not. It's almost like being scared of getting shot in class or shot in a building. God forbid. You know? Think about that. There's something we can have a conversation about, actually. Thank you for this feedback, by the way. This is what we're trying to do here. By presenting this feedback and having this conversation, we're trying to work this out, because through this conversation alone, I have been open up to thoughts that I did not previously have an hour ago about my own position. And I'm glad to have this conversation so I can think about it now. Definitely not worry about it, but think about it. I don't want to stress myself out, but it's something to think about. Jay, see, there you go. There you go, lady. You all right. What's the penalties for not wearing masks? They need to add that to the student conduct handbook, because it's now considered an infraction. Possibly. I mean, it's part of the uniform code. I mean, is it written into it as for this year? Because I don't think it's going to be permanent. So it's definitely something to consider as an emergency contingency. Resolution to the, conversation. God forbid a child costs. Now is a disruption in class. Kids are going to flip out, which is my point of we've been dealing with the quote unquote maturity of the adults in this conversation. Now we're going to be dealing with the immaturity of our youth in this building. So and so coughed. So and so, and they cough every day. They sneeze every day. They do a lot of different things because they kids. I done been in the classroom and you hear them do it all the time. They get up and get tissue for no reason. Oh my goodness, it's all over the place. So it's like this is what we're going to be dealing with, and that's going to be a call, or how to teach the teachers to diffuse that situation and focus on the work. That's a conversation we're going to be working on. You're going to flip out, right? I can see it happening now. You already know it's all it takes, and it's going to be like, seriously, are we having a conversation because they coughed? Did they cover their mouth? Did they use hand sanitizer? Is everything okay? I totally get it, but it's the reality that we're dealing with. We have to get our kids in line to understand this is going to be, I don't want to call it the new normal, because new means something permanent almost. I don't want to say new, but it is. And that's what my concern is. It's a rough situation right now we're in. It's a rough situation that we're dealing with this, and how to deal with it is clashing because they're two different concerns. They're two different concerns, and they're very valid concerns. They're not just, worried about themselves. They worry about others. Parents are worried about what's going on with their kids. Now somebody, there you go. You will also deal with the immaturity of the parents. Yeah, we said that. The parents are going to be tripping all day. And what they don't like, they're going to be quick. Pick up that phone, turn into junior movie directors. They are going to go crazy. That has to be addressed as well. I've had my experience of dealing with parents at school, and they're upset about something, and they're quick to threaten to go to the network and do things and complain and whatever the case may be. Whether they have a valid concern or not, I'm not even getting into that. But I will get into the reality of that's what they'll do when they're slighted. When they feel slighted or they feel like you're not doing your job. And depending on how loud they yell and how loud they bark and how loud they complain, the response can be anywhere from, slap on the wrist or something worse, like your job at stake, because someone thinks you're not doing your job. Someone feels you're not doing your job. Someone disagrees with your choice about handling a situation. That type of stuff is very dangerous, but that's reality. You know, Shimon says, "What I miss." Ha! Yo, you coming in at 7:50 and a 7 o'clock conversation talking about what I miss. Man, I'm mad at you right now. I'm mad at you right now, Simmons. I thought you had my back. I thought you was down. I thought you was down. You not down. You one of my main brothers out here on the line. So I know how you feel. Um, let me see. I'm loving this feedback, by the way. So if a man ate a group of kids, oh man, I'm gonna give you a shout out in a minute, Simmons. So if a mandated group of kids are to report, do parents have the option of opting out and doing remote learning, and how was that addressed? Does a teacher know how to do both remote learning responsibilities and in-person responsibilities? How much say would the families have in their choice of their child's instruction? That is definitely structural institutional information that needs to be talked about for the curriculum. I know most of that stuff is being well. See, I'm going from what I'm learning from the network. I'm talking to Jay on this one in particular. Uh, I have seen and heard conversations and read reports from the network that they're working and addressing some of those issues, but there's some great questions that need to be fleshed out more. So I don't. But CPS is a different bird, and I know they struggle severely with online or remote learning. So I don't know. Um, I personally think that we should transition from remote into the schools, just to be safe, and it has to be a process where they start off one way, and then we do 30 days of this, 30 days of that, and then bam, we good, transition or something like that. And it has to be a transition. I don't personally agree with Coke coming in hot. I think the best way is a transition and to see how it looks, and then gradually get to the point to where it's comfortable, because these kids are going to have fits. These parents, they're going to have fits. So it's up to us as the staffers, especially me as an admin, and that's my concern right now. That's what I'm wrapping my head around, is putting it out there to these parents that their concerns will be matched and met to the best of our abilities. Even though that's not my job per se, that's the principal's job. I still feel as my role is to assist the school environment, to make it comfortable, any way possible. Uh, Shout out to Simmons. Simmons is a colleague. He is a very brilliant black man, very, very brilliant black man. And he's been talking about this and putting on my radar a lot about how to handle this and everything. And his questions are very valid. And when he asks a question, he makes me think. And then I think about trying not to respond just to him, but just respond to the situation. Um, so with that being said, Simmons, I know that they are trying, but I just feel that the best way is transitioning. You have to go in there in levels. Level one, let's get this group in first, see how they respond, see how they go. Somebody got to be the guinea pig, but it has to be a controlled group. It has to be a smaller group, and then, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, transition them in, and the other kids in, and kind of do that. But see, with that, what about the ones left behind? And that's where I guess remote learning comes into play, where they start off with remote, and then other kids will be in the building, and kind of go from there. But that's the part that's tricky, because staffing and protocol and everything else, maybe they might not be in the school the whole day. That's a whole nother story as well. Because if they're not going to be in school the whole day and a half a day, who going to watch these kids when they get home? What they're going to do later? All of this stuff is so. It's infrastructure, because our way of education is not geared towards this life. It's just not. It's just not. Even remote learning for everybody is jacked up. And when you talk about it out loud, you see it. When you talk about it out loud, you go into the process of, oh my God, this is a jacked up. This is really jacked up more than what we think. And you still got to go in. It's like we're really. It's like we're going to war. We are literally going to war for education and safety and health. We're going to war, and you see the enemy, and they're geared up, and you sitting there with with your laser gun, like, because I want to have a laser gun. I don't want no regular rifle. I want a regular. I want a laser rifle. I'm looking at the laser like, man, they gonna jack us up. But do you run? Do you fight? And if you fight, you have to do it strategically. I'm not going out like that. I'm not running like they did in Glory. You know how they did in Glory? If anybody never saw Glory, you should see Glory. Wonderful movie, but a sad ending. And I never got over it to this day. Spoiler alert, they ain't make it. The movie's over 30 years old. Deal with it. So, in Glory, at the end, they was marching to take on the Confederates. And the way, I guess, strategy was back then, they had to, march in place, double timed, everything like that. And they was getting picked off. They was getting picked off. And I'm looking at it like, why don't they dodge? Why don't they move? Why are they dealing with the cannons coming at them and getting shot? Because that was a strategy of war back in the day. I don't know how it's different from now, whatever the case may be. Maybe it's more strategic. But I'm thinking about strategy. I'm looking like, man, why don't they, move, have diversions or something, whatever going on? They getting picked off one by one, but they kept going, and they kept going, and they kept dealing with the enemy fire and the soldiers, and they finally got in, and they finally made it just to get attacked by a cannon. And it's like, oh my God, even thinking about it now, I mean, beautiful movie, beautiful, 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 sad ending. To this day, I get emotional over the ending because it was just that emotional of a movie. But you think about it, and it's like, that's how we feel. We are marching into a situation, and they are continually shooting at us, and we got to keep going. We got to keep going, because eventually we're going to get past this line. We're going to get past this hill. We're going to overtake this fort, and we're going to get them. We're not going to get hit by these cannons. Or we might get hit by these cannons. Some of us ain't going to make it. And that's the mentality of war, is some of us not going to make it. But you don't want to subscribe to that because you don't want to see your partner go down. But it's reality. It's reality. You don't want to see no one get sick. You don't want to see no one get hurt. You don't want to see no one get fired. But you know that this is the path that might happen, because people are going to rebel. People are going to renegade. People are going to say, you know what, this ain't worth it. I'm going to quit. I'll collect unemployment, which is paying out, find another job, because people are going to be quitting. So in this world of people quitting or people not feeling safe going back, people are going to get hired somewhere else. It doesn't matter what willing to deal with, especially in education. So this is our reality. This is our struggle right now. And I think that we have to go in better prepared ourselves, health wise, better prepared mentally with structure, infrastructure, curriculum, be on the same page so we don't frustrate each other with our own frustrations. That means working with staff, acknowledging that they probably don't want to be there, and if they don't want to be there, how the attitude will translate on you because they probably can't take it out on kids, and they're gonna take it out on you, especially me. I can see myself getting dealt with a lot. So I got to be. I have to mentally prepare myself for that fallout because I can see it coming. I know my team. I know I can see it coming, and I probably know who's gonna give me the most damage. But I'm being totally honest. Um, but I'm there. I know that part of the war. I know that they're not going to take it out on the kids, so they're going to take it out on you and the admin because that's all they got. So that's the role I got to play of being that guy of taking those hits. And honestly, it's not necessarily the job you sign up for, but it's the role you have to play because at the end of the day, you want some sort of stability for those kids and you want to show support for the staff because they have to do that. And I have to support my staff because they are the true heroes. They're the ones in those. They're the ones in those classrooms. Hold on, what did he write? Can I put all this on there? He wrote a lot of stuff. Uh, Simmons. Oh my God, what did he say? This is just my opinion. Kids are gross. I told you that earlier. I think the teachers are more vulnerable to this than kids. Again, my opinion. From what I've seen, the kids are kids even getting affected by this. What's the percentage? As you said, when you do this in level, especially if you have kids going around licking poles like that little girl. We need to start in September. I'll become the frontline worker, which I'm okay with. I'll be sending children with their I don't know what he said, homemade. I ain't finished. I got to see what he said on that one. It's time to start training soldiers so they can be truly prepared. Yeah, it's deep. Let me see what he said. Oh, okay. What is? I'll become a frontline worker, in which I'm okay with, and I'll be sending my children with their homemade vaccinations. Yes, yes. Be prepared, brother. Be prepared. Be prepared. Yes, be prepared. So yeah, that's the mission that we have right now. So what do we walk away with? Let's walk away with a few things. Let's walk away with the first thought. The first thought is we need to do less this and we need to put in more words and put in more action. We cannot sit on the sidelines and get this stuff done. We can't have the wait and see attitude when it comes to certain things. We have to support. We have to push. We have to motivate. If you see somebody that's on the front line and they're feeling overwhelmed or they're feeling like this ain't worth it, we got to support them because if they fall off, who's gonna pick up their flag? Like in Glory, the best scene, the best scene in Glory. Well, not the best scene, but who will pick up that flag? You know, let me see if I can play that right quick. Let me see if I got that. This is 2 minutes. No, I don't think I see it. The flag scene. No, I don't see it. I don't see that clip. I wanted to show that. I wanted to show that clip. Uh, of what was going to happen, in that scene when he was like, if this man falls, who will take his who will pick up the flag? And dude was like, I will. He got up there like, I will. That part right there was so magical to me. It was powerful. Like, when you fall, who's gonna pick up your flag? When they fall, who's gonna pick up their flag? Think about it. Think about that going forward today. Think about how we can help each other out with our presence. Let's type in. Clicks can go far, sharing, supporting, but definitely, getting out there. Also, pray for these teachers. Pray for the staff of these schools that's going to be going to war, because they are going to need it. They're going to need your encouragement. They're going to need your support and prayers, and for good health. And I know there will be some casualties. I'm looking at it from the less perspective than the worst case scenario is getting sick, getting a regular cold at this point, because these kids are germy. Vitamins, we have to stock up on vitamin C. Matter of fact, I am going to stock up on all the vitamin C and zinc I can right now to get my immune system in overdrive. Because right now it's pretty decent, but got to be prepared. Got to be prepared. So that's it. I did my hour. I had my conversation. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for chiming in. Simmons coming in late, but you still on point. Always salute. Thank you, Miss J. Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Tonio. Thank you. Where'd she go? Tiff. Oh, I didn't get a chance to go to Tiffany. Antonio, Jay, Jen, and someone else. Sakara, Sandra, Stacy, Abdullah. Let me see. I don't want to miss. Hold on. Somebody say something. Tiffany said something. Now this is off the course of the conversation, off topic. So I'm gonna give 5 minutes to it. One thing. Let me put this up on the screen right quick. This is my closing conversation. One thing that is not being talked about but stays on my mind is, what about these babies that are being abused? Was there any follow up with those households? You're welcome. That's what I want to do. That's what this is all for, Jay. This platform, this conversation. This is what is needed. We have to sound off. We have to sound off and support each other, or we're gonna be talking to ourselves. And talking to ourselves won't nothing get done. Out of this conversation, I have truly been inspired and motivated about my job. Before, I mean, I say I'm not motivated before, but it brings you a different sense of understanding about what we have to do and what I have to do. So that type of stuff is like, is necessary. You ever had a conversation where you was talking about something, with your girls or your guys or whatever case may be, and they said something to just put you on the edge of your seat, like, man, I'm fired up now, you know? And it wasn't even about, the topic at hand, but they gave you a little bit of, something to just motivate you and say, man, this is it. I'm feeling it, you know? So that's what this conversation was. But to get back to Tiffany, I know that's a rhetorical question at the end. You would think so, but DCFS has been pretty quiet lately in regards to some of these cases that's going on with abuse. So you got to be more specific about the abuse per case, because there's different cases of it. But it's all about reporting. It's all about, due diligence of the families, of the support system, see some do they see something they have to report, but it's all up it's all up to DCFS, and I don't know if they are in rebuild mode because for obvious reasons. So that's a question that you got to investigate on your own and see what's going on with some of those cases, and the follow up because they're minors. A lot of that stuff is private. So let's see what's going on with it, but definitely a different conversation to have altogether. But thank you for your thoughts. Uh, all right. On that note, I am out. I'm going to get something to eat, relax my mind, and think about some of the stuff that we talked about. All right, guys, have a good one. Thank y'all so much for coming out and talking and everything like that. This show is called Changing the Narrative. Uh, I think I make this a bi-weekly thing just because, I like doing this stuff. Stay tuned for the upcoming Smith Center Spotlight. Will be coming up this week. And then I'll be looking for another person to highlight as well. So y'all take care of each other. Be healthy. Be safe. And see you around. Peace.